Hello and thank you for listening. This is Hooks and Books. I'm one of your hosts, Zoe Pullman, and
I'm your other host, Emerson Pullman.
we're so glad you are listening. So let's dive in. Since it seems logical that Hooks is first in our title, we'll start with Hooks today. But before we go into Hooks, let's introduce ourselves. So Emerson, why don't you start and tell a little bit about yourself?
Well, as I just said, my name is Emerson, and I am 10 years old, and I'm in 5th grade.
And I'm her sister, if you can't tell. I am 12. Actually, I just turned 12. I am in 6th grade, though since school's kind of already done, I'm going to be in 7th grade next year for school. So we live in Zillow, Washington, and we have 2 brothers, and I have 2 siblings, including Emerson.
2 sisters.
2 sisters, sorry. Emerson, why don't you tell them about our brothers?
Well, we have an older brother, Hayden, and a younger brother, Xander.
Xander is 6, and Hayden is 14 in a couple of days.
And then our younger sister, Sky.
She is 7? Yes, sorry. Her birthday's soon. I always get really mixed up with people's ages. It's hard to remember.
Sometimes when their birthdays are around the same time.
Yeah, sometimes they get confused with our dad and our older brother's birthday. Since it's the 27th and 26th, it's just kind of confusing.
Even though they're not in the same month.
No, but they're a year apart. The day before their birthday is the other person's half birthday. So it's confusing.
Well, now that we introduced ourselves, we probably should start with the real crocheting.
Right. Oh, you gave it away.
Sorry.
So, as she just said, hooks. Today we're going to be talking about crocheting. So, Emerson, what do you think of when I say hooks?
The hook of crocheting.
You know what I actually think of? A fishing hook. You put those little things on your fishing rods and you go fishing, you get a nice little salmon. That's what I think of.
But you have to have bait.
That's true. Forgot about that part. Worms. Yep. It's kind of the gross part. I don't like touching the worms. It's gross.
Or the fish.
That's true. Right. So let's keep going. So when did you first experience or see someone else crochet? When do you first oh, that's crocheting?
Well, I don't remember when I was oh, that's crocheting because, well, my Nana, my dad's mom,
yeah.
she just crochets, so it's just kind of there.
Yeah, I don't really remember, but I kind of do actually. Our mom used to crochet when I was younger, so.
Has she crocheted anything for you then?
Oh yeah, I've actually received a couple of gifts from people, and hopefully you can tell us about your gifts that you received from people that are crocheted after I explain one. So from our Nana, I have gotten a baby blanket. It's purple and brown, and my brother got a blue and brown baby blanket, actually. And my mom has made me a stuffed owl, so it's purple, so yeah.
Actually, all 3 of us girls, Zoe, me, Emerson. Me as Emerson, and Sky.
And Sky, yeah.
We all
Don't
got
forget about her.
Owls for my mother. She crocheted them.
Yeah. So, do you know how to do anything other than crochet? Have you ever sewn or knit or stuff like that?
Well, my grandma, one time since, in Essentials, I wrote paper that I wanted to learn how to crochet.
You mean sew?
Oh, sew, yes. And she remembered that. So one time when she came to visit us, because we're actually from southern Alberta, so she came over.
Forgot to mention that in her introduction.
So when she came over, she bought a sewing machine. So we got to. She helped us
pencil cases.
Yeah.
So have you ever hand sewn? I know I have, but it wasn't really that difficult. It's just putting the needle through and yeah.
Well, not exactly sewing, but we do have like these little like.
Oh yeah, those animal things have strings and holes, and you put them through. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they just get stuck in there, and they're not long enough. So.
Yes. Have you had any experience with knitting though?
I've never knit, but I actually see a lot of people that knit. So. Yeah, actually, so we've talked about other people we've seen do things like that, but we actually learned from our mother in like I think February it was.
Yeah, this year actually.
Yeah, so we haven't actually been crocheting for a while, but like, how do you do a crocheting podcast without learning how to crochet? So,
I don't know. It's probably pretty hard too.
Probably, you'd have to have a lot of guesses,
or just a book that someone wrote who crocheted.
like
just read it.
You're like reading the book on your podcast.
This is how you crochet.
Well, and the listener's like, this is boring. Well, yeah, you might just get the book and read it yourself.
But I hope this podcast isn't as boring.
Yeah, I like to think of myself as interesting. So, yeah.
But do you know who taught your mom then?
Yeah, our Nana did. So that's pretty much where I've seen crocheting. I've seen like a different older lady crocheting in our class one time, and so like that's pretty much the only other time I've actually seen someone crochet. But I've heard of or seen the things that they've crocheted. So, what are some good or bad experiences that you have with crocheting?
Well, I guess we'll start with good.
Sure.
I mean, you should save the best for last. That'd be the good part, but yeah.
Your bad experiences are the best parts?
No, that's why I'm going to do that first.
Well, actually, that's how I helped you, so it's kind of good experiences because, like, one of us messed up and the other person helped us, and it was fun experience too because like we were like helping each other.
Yeah, that's part of my good experience. I mean, like we could do it together. My mom just like took it out and it was
all nice that all three of us actually Sky crochets too. We all actually like learned to crochet together.
I mean, I'm sure my mom freshed it all up.
Yeah, we watched a couple of videos. It was like, wait, how do you start again? And we were like, so we watched a video like, Mom, that didn't make any sense. So it was like we watched a video so that Mom could like remember how to do it, and then Mom taught us that. We didn't like the video was like confusing.
Yeah, I mean, I got the slip knot, but
I know. Actually, once you get the chain, it's actually really, really easy because it's basically like no matter what kind of crochet you're doing for your row, it's like basically the same aspect, just like starting differently.
Yes, I mean, those who haven't started crocheting yet, this might be a little confusing, though.
Actually, speaking of same aspects, one mistake I made is I didn't quite see how to do the second row, so I was doing wrong, and I made like this big thing long, like this big long thing. For those of you who know how to crochet, it's probably like, I'm going to say like, maybe like, not, like 80 or so rows long, and it was like 6 rows that I made, and I did slip stitches the entire time, which are really hard, but that's not what you'd usually do. So like that is one of my mistakes I made.
And she thought it was wrong because she watched a video of how to do that.
And then later I got a book, and actually I discovered that actually was a stitch, and I was like super mad.
I mean, I will say like not very good.
Chains?
No.
Experiences?
Yes. Experiences. Like
just like looking at me. Yes, your experience. Would you like to tell us about it?
Well, I mean, I didn't know how to do the second row, so I just did the chain over and over.
I know,
but
our
then
sister
it got frayed, and then it didn't.
I know, it was making knots, and like our sister, that chain that she made, like how long is it? Like
the house long.
It was like as long as the house. Like she was like Our dog was trying to eat her chain as she was like holding it across the thing. And Sarah's like just like pointing out. She's like, I've got more.
You
like,
should make a skip rope.
Yeah, we're like, that's a bad idea.
Well, I also have another one. So like, I was taking too much like yarn out of the ball that it tangled up. So it was like that for a couple of days. I'm pretty sure I've done it multiple times.
Those are so hard to get out.
Have you done it before?
I admit it. Yes, of course I have. I mean, every person once or twice has. But actually, for my birthday, I got these like little tiny metal hooks, which are really, really helpful to undo the knots because you can just like stick them in there and then like out goes the knot. It's really helpful. Or they just make the knot worse. So, yeah. So those are some of our good and bad experiences in starting with crocheting. I hope you don't have as many bad experiences as us when you start crocheting. But thank you for listening. Let's say goodbye, Emerson. Goodbye.
Adios.
You got it.